Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. This is a video series I do called Transfer Tuesday, where every week I come on and share what progress we are making towards our financial goals. So we've been working on a couple of different things, whether it was putting money into my Fundrise real estate investing platform or putting money into my M1 brokerage account. But this week we're going to mix things up just a little bit. So if you had watched last week, I think I had mentioned that we recently had our well pump die. So that was kind of an emergency thing that we needed to call and have somebody come and replace that because we needed water. So that bill came and it was $3,000. So really important to make sure that you have savings accounts to cover things like this. So we have several. We have our main large, not large, I don't know, that's a subjective thing, emergency fund, where that's really money that we don't want to touch. So we did not use that money for this. Instead, I used a combination of things. I used some money from our general savings account. I did use some from a home and auto sinking fund savings account that I have. Not a lot, because I didn't want to deplete that, because we are saving for additional things like when we need to purchase a new vehicle, and if other things should go, like if we needed a new furnace or a new roof, or if our actual well or septic failed, those are going to be huge expenses. So we really are trying to save up money in that account, as well as like an additional emergency fund, if you will. And then just money from checking. So I was able to pay that bill and paid by check. Unfortunately, they wouldn't take a card. Well, they would take a card, but they charged you like an extra 3.5% or something in order to use a card. So although I wanted to use a card to earn points, I decided not to, because I didn't want to pay any additional, so I cut them a check. So kind of along those same lines of talking about savings accounts, I have mentioned before that we bank with Ally Bank for some of our savings. So really it started with my emergency fund in that bank, because they have high yield savings accounts, and I wanted to be able to earn additional better interest on that money while it just sits. So they were running a promotion, and it ends on November 4th. But they're running a deal for any new money that you put into the Ally Bank, that you can earn a 1% back kind of bonus on it. However, the minimum is $1,000 that you have to deposit, with a maximum of $50,000. So it has to be new money that you are moving in, not just moving money within accounts that you may have already have there. So initially I was like, okay, yeah, I'll do that. I'll move 500. And then when I pulled up the fine print, it was like a minimum of 1,000. I was like, okay, well, clearly 500 moving isn't going to cut it, and I'm not going to get anything for doing that. So I decided I did move 500 already. And then in addition to that, I decided to move $6,000 that we had set aside in that home and auto fund, like I've talked about, for future uses, moving that over, because that's not something that we plan to access regularly. So it's okay if it's in a different account where it might take a couple of days to be able to transfer that back, because we wouldn't need it instantaneously anyways. And we do have other funds available if we did need it. So I moved that $6,000 from that account to the Ally High Yield Savings, and I'm going to do buckets in that as well. We already have the emergency fund. I had a separate savings that I was working on for a brief moment for a goal, and I did keep that still separate. And then moving over, they have separate buckets for like home versus auto. So once that money actually gets there, I'm not sure which bucket I'll put it in, or if maybe I will actually split it out, since we really are kind of working on two different goals, maybe split the money half and half. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do. But I really wanted to just stress the importance of savings accounts and having things like this, because this is a perfect example where a $3,000 bill can derail you. There was times in years past where I would have had to put that on a credit card because I didn't have $3,000 sitting around for these unplanned expenses. So really, really important once you're kind of at that situation with your finances where you have a little bit of breathing room and you can work on putting small amounts aside to build up those savings accounts, starting with an emergency fund first, even if it's just the initial $1,000, just something, because in this scenario, even if you had $1,000 set aside, that's still a third of it, right? A third of that bill. So then you would have only had $2,000 to come up with if you had that 1,000. So really, really, really want to stress how important that is, and making sure that you are setting yourself up for success and not going to be derailed and have major anxiety when something like this happens and you do get that unexpected $3,000 bill. So kind of end of my rant for that. So this week I did not invest any of that money. It was more of just moving money around because on top of that $3,000 bill, I had a vet bill of almost $500 last week as well. So we've kind of had a lot going on, and I kind of just need a minute to figure out things, wait for that check to clear, see where the dust may settle. And then again, next week, we'll get back into making some transfers towards those other goals. So I will be back again next week and sharing some additional money moves. It's been a lot of craziness going on, so I'm late in doing this video, but still wanted to hop on and share for accountability purposes. And hopefully things slow down a little bit and I can be a little timelier next week. So that will do it for me. Make sure you have your savings accounts and you are putting money towards those for those unexpected expenses. So I will see you back here again next week. Have a great week.